Micah Frankel for CageMinds.com. Today, we are going to be joined with fighting for the inaugural Invicta Bantamweight title. Our guest today, Lauren Murphy. Lauren, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I'm looking forward to just having like the last week of practice and finishing the camp out strong and getting over to Kansas City.
Right. How hard is it? We know the holidays are coming up. What's that like for you right now? Fights right after Thanksgiving. Is that kind of hard right now for you, missing out on the season, or?
No, not really, because I get to go home for Christmas. So I'm really glad the fight is early in December and I can go spend Christmas with my husband. But for me, like, I do my camps away from my family, so like all the holidays and stuff are just another day to me. Really, like there's not really much like tis the season going on at all. I just train every day. So
why is that? Why do you do your camps away from your family?
It's just kind of the way it worked out. Like, I just kind of fell into it. The gym that I train at now, a coach that I really, really loved, you know, I just loved having him be my coach, and like, he's a great guy, and he kind of speaks my language, so, we're pretty tight, and he started teaching at a gym in Texas, and I just followed him there. But my husband is stationed in Florida. So it just kind of happened that it was like, well, I really want to train at this gym with my original coach, and that's just the way it's going to be. So it works out better, though, because when I come out to my camps and stuff, there's no distractions. I literally just spend every waking minute becoming a better fighter. Like, I stay by myself, and I don't have friends, like, calling me and bugging me to go out with them. I don't have, like, children that I have to take care of. You know, I don't need to, like, get home to cook dinner for my husband or anything like that. And, like, on days when I'm feeling crappy, I go to the gym. And on days when I'm feeling good, I go to the gym. And, like, every single day there's nothing else for me to do except for go to the gym. Like, I don't get to, like, go home and just, like, spend an afternoon just relaxing. You know, I would love to, but that option's not even there for me. So it's actually pretty convenient.
So it's kind of a forced solitude, just making you take in the whole element of the fight, I guess, and that mindset. Is it ever too much? Does that ever drive you crazy, though, just focusing in on it?
Not yet. I mean, it definitely gives me a certain mindset. You know, it definitely affects me mentally, but so far it's all been for the good. And, you know, these last few weeks of camp, like, I don't even really think about the fight anymore. I just think about going home. It's like, you know, when I get into Kansas City, I'm like, all right, all I gotta do is fight my ass off for 25 minutes, and then I get to go home. And that's, like, a pretty cool feeling. Like, the reward at the end of the fight is, to me, is so much greater than even the belt, you know, and, or having another, like, win on my record. Like, the reward is that I get to go home and be with my family again.
So with that, you said 25 minutes. Is that what you're expecting the fight to be, a 25-minute war?
Yeah, for sure. That's what you always expect. Yeah. I'll be ready for, like, an hour, though, you know? Like, I'll be ready for, like, 10 rounds if I have to, you know? I don't care.
And then the moment you're fighting for the inaugural Invicta Bantamweight title, what does that mean to you, getting this opportunity?
Oh, it's a huge opportunity. You know, I think, Invicta's had, like, the best of the best, and the 135 division is really deep, and it just means a lot to me to know that, you know, I can hang with the best in the world, and that's what that title means, you know. I just read an article, I actually just posted it on my Facebook page about, you know, all the girls on the Ultimate Fighter that are getting fights in the UFC on the finale, and to me, I would rather fight for Invicta's inaugural Bantamweight title than fight on that finale with those women, because I think that the competition that you're going to find in Invicta right now is deeper than the females that tried out for that, for the tough finale. For most of them. There's a couple of females that tried out for tough that were on that show that are really tough, but for the most part, I think that a lot of those girls that went to the Ultimate Fighter would get destroyed in Invicta right now.
UFC's Bantamweight division's kind of, I don't know, interesting case, I'd say, with some of the flyweights and some of the matchups we've seen. It's an interesting little deal they're putting together there, and also interesting now they're talking about bringing in strawweights, which I don't see working out well for them with all the top ones being in Invicta anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the UFC is going to figure out their division here pretty quick, and it's getting sorted out for sure, but it's going to be a process for them. They definitely have some of the best 135ers in the world. Like, I'd say, like, top 5 or 6 girls. You know, you're looking at girls like, as far as I know, you know, like Sarah McMahon, Alexis Davis, obviously Ronda Rousey. Those girls are beasts. You know what I mean? They're at the top level right now. And they're going to be a real hard competition for anybody. But then there's like a pretty big significant drop off, in my opinion, of some of the other girls that have been signed and that are getting fights in the UFC, and it's just going to take a little bit of weeding out, you know what I mean? Some weeding, I guess. But they're gonna get there, you know, the UFC's gonna figure out, like, who the toughest ones are, and those ones are gonna stay, and the ones that aren't are gonna get cut.
A lot of people always talk about, you know, their dream is to be in the UFC no matter where they're at. Their dream is to be in the UFC. But from what I've read, what I've heard, you kind of sound really happy about Invicta, and you want to take this title and make it your own and defend it and be the flagship for their bantamweight division. Am I kind of on the lines with that?
You know what? I'm just I'm trying to be the kind of person that wakes up every morning and just does whatever's right in front of them. So, I do love Invicta. They've been really, really good to me. Like, without Invicta, my career would still be stagnant, you know? But, they've helped me to grow as a fighter and given me some really awesome opportunities that I like to think, you know, I've seized the day and, you know, like, taken my opportunities as they've been coming. So, if the UFC were to offer me something or, like, invite me to their party, you know, I can't say that I wouldn't accept, you know? The UFC is a pretty prestigious club to be a part of, and I think I can hang with a lot of the girls that are in there. So, not just hang, but I think I could beat the shit out of a lot of the girls that are in that division. And then there's, you know, like I said, there's some of those, like, top-ranked girls in there that are just animals, and that's who I aspire to fight like. So, it's definitely something that I'm keeping my eye on, but I love Invicta, and I don't, you know, I wouldn't just leave them for anything, you know?
Well, who were some of the girls that you looked at when you first started fighting and you were either a fan of or you kind of said, oh, I want to take what they do and implement it into my game?
When I first started fighting, Sarah Kaufman was one because she was such a skilled stand-up artist. I think lately what we've seen out of her, she hasn't progressed much as a stand-up artist. So, you know, it's important to always be progressing as a fighter, but either she'll make that progression or she won't, you know. It's really, like, none of my business. But that's just my opinion about what I see. But she was definitely the first, like, female fighter that I ever watched where I was like, I want to fight like that, you know. And then I started watching a lot of Cyborg, and, like, I really like the way Cyborg fights. She's just tough. She doesn't give a shit, you know. She's out there to hurt you and finish the fight. And I really dig that kind of style, you know. And then lately, like, you know, I've been watching Holly Holm and stuff, and I really admire her kickboxing, and Alexis Davis has some badass jiu-jitsu, you know, and Shayna Baszler too, so it's just, you know, you can pick and choose, like, all different styles from any of the women, really, that you see, but there's a couple that are really skilled at one thing or another, and that's generally, like, what I try to aspire to be like.
So I know that you started out with a jiu-jitsu background. That's how you first started off in combat sports. I'm correct, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, like, when we say I started off in jiu-jitsu, we're talking, like, a couple months, you know? It's not like I was doing jiu-jitsu for years or anything before I started MMA.
So, from when you started rolling and doing the jiu-jitsu to the first time you punched someone in the face, what were the two different experiences like for you?
Well, jiu-jitsu to me just came a little bit more naturally because, you know, when I first started, of course, when people first start jiu-jitsu, they use all their strength to, like, try and get submissions, and there's not really any, like, savvy anything going on. And I was really strong for a girl. I was, like, deceptively strong, so I could hang with the guys, and they were all really impressed. So, of course, I liked that. And then you're not getting punched in the face. I mean, like, look, I like to fight and everything, but getting punched all the time isn't exactly, like, the highlight of my day every day, you know? So I did like jiu-jitsu a little bit more starting out, but since coming to Texas, especially in the last year, I met a really great kickboxing coach, and he really taught me, like, how to fight for my style. You know, so what ends up happening is that I've started liking the stand-up game a lot more now because I'm not just getting the shit beat out of me all the time, you know what I mean? I can actually hold my own on the feet, and that's what makes it fun, is when it's competitive and you've got good guys around you that are trying to bring you up to the next level. They're not just there to, like, use you as a punching bag.
Talking about the next level, your stardom, your fame is obviously taken off to the next level this year. Your last 3 fights, highly profiled, Access TV, 2 Invicta fights. So what's that been like for you from 4-0, no one's heard of you, and all of a sudden now 7-0, and a lot of us know you?
I guess it's pretty cool. You know, the thing that, like, I just really want more than anything is, if people are gonna know me, then I want to be inspiring. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I could give a shit if anybody knows me or not. Like, I fight because I love to fight. I don't fight because I want to be famous or anything like that. I just want to go out there and have a good time and be the best mixed martial artist I can be. So every once in a while, somebody will, like, write to me on Facebook or let me know that, like, I've really inspired them, or that I've helped them in some way, or that my story has, like, helped them in some way. And to me, that's the best part, really, of any kind of, like, fame. But I don't know, it's just, you know, I still really just want to go home and, like, watch movies on a rainy day and curl up with my husband and my dog and, like, do nothing, you know? Like, I still want to just, like, go get white chocolate mochas and cake pops from Starbucks and eat like a pig. And, like, I don't know, I'm just a normal person. So I know that fame comes as, you know, fame goes as quickly as it comes. So I don't know, I'm not too thrilled about it all, but whatever.
It's alright, but you could live without it kind of thing?
Yeah, for sure.
So, we know that you're working all the time, and you're out there, you said, isolated. So what are you doing for relaxation, taking time out? Is there anything, or is it constantly on the grind right now?
It's pretty constantly on the grind. I take, like, little tiny breaks, like, during the day. Like, my favorite hours during the day are from, like, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., because I just, like, have a cup of coffee and, like, stick around on my computer and stuff, and then usually from, like, 3 to 4 in the afternoon, I do the same thing. Like, to me, like, just those little pockets of time are really, really valuable. If somebody messes with them, I get super grumpy. And then, I haven't really taken too many rest days during this camp, but, like, you know, some days, on Sundays, I like to just sleep in and stay in bed, and my husband and I, you know, thank God for FaceTime. So we FaceTime a lot, and that's, like, the best we get for hanging out. But mostly, like, in my off time, I just daydream about going home.
So you have that goal in mind, and it's always there. It's that carrot dangling in front of you? Yeah,
for sure. Like, you know, on a really hard day, like, you know, some days you're just tired and sore and you're beat up, and, like, I get sick of it, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? I don't know how I got here. I don't know if I want to be here. And all I can think about is, like, going back to my house in Panama City and being with my family and, like, you know, being like little Susie homemaker and stuff. And to me, that's just a really comforting thought. But I know from my experience so far that I'll enjoy that stuff for a couple of weeks, and then I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go back. Like, I start to get antsy and I want to fight again. So my soul usually only lasts a couple of weeks, and then I start to get the itch.
1 second, I have a barking dog. My dogs don't like that there's other people in the world. Sorry about that.
We have a Doberman at the house. My husband and I own a Doberman, and he's like the sweetest, smartest dog ever. I miss him so bad.
Talking about home, I feel almost bad. I feel like I'm making you more homesick as we keep bringing it up. I'm like, oh, I can't wait for your fight.
Yeah, like, it's funny because I'll fight on Saturday, and then we fly back into Houston on Sunday, and, like, no matter what, like, after I fought Sarah, I was so sore, and I was really tired, and I just did not care. I packed up all my shit and left that night. I was so anxious to get home.
How far of a drive is it?
It's 10 hours. I left at, like, 11 o'clock at night and drove, like, 3 or 4 hours, and then stopped and slept in a crappy motel, and then made it home the next morning. But that's just, like, how bad I wanted to get home and be with my family again.
Like I said, feeling bad making you homesick. Coming into this fight, everyone's talking that it's striker versus grappler, but you obviously pointed out It's not like you were, you know, a 5-year jiu-jitsu player, like that's what you know. We've seen you get in there and stand and trade. So is this, you know, can we put it that striker versus grappler, or is this just fighter versus fighter?
It's just going to be fighter versus fighter, you know. It's like, when I go into that fight, you know, you can't just assume that Miriam Nakamoto doesn't know anything on the ground or that she hasn't been working on her wrestling. Like, clearly she's working on her wrestling and her jiu-jitsu, and clearly I've been working on my striking, and I just don't think it's safe to put labels on people like that, because then you start falling into bad habits about, like you just get stuck in one mindset, or you get stuck in one game plan, and that's all you're going to do. And then if they, you know, humans are unpredictable. If they do something unpredictable, you won't be able to adjust. So we just train everything at my gym, and it's cool that like, I have the life that I have, because I get to train everything all day long. And I think, you know, well-rounded fighters are the most dangerous fighters. Look at Liz Carmouche, man. I would hate to fight Liz Carmouche just because she's so well-rounded. You never know what she's going to do or where she's going to take the fight. She clearly works really, really hard, and she's one of the most dangerous girls on the planet. So that's what I think me and Miriam are going to be like.
You coming into this fight, or going into any fight, are you kind of a fighter that you got a game plan and you work off of it? Like, I got some, you know, like bullet points kind of to look off of? Or are you, I'm going to get in there and just kind of feel it out? What kind of fighter are you?
It's been different for every fight. Some will look at my opponent and, like, come up with a solid game plan, you know? And then sometimes, like, with the Sarah De La fight, it was like, well, shit, you're just gonna have to fight. You know, like, no matter where it goes, you're just gonna have to fight your ass off. And, you know, to me, that was a lot of fun, actually, to not have, like, a game plan like that for her, because, it just left me really free and open to do whatever. And, yeah, it was a fun fight, you know what I mean? It was close, it was competitive, and to me, those are the best kinds, those kinds of wars. So, it just depends on the opponent and, like, where I'm at with my training, particularly. So we had one fight a long time ago in Fairbanks, and, like, I think I was just learning how to wrestle, basically. You know, and so I just kept wrestling this girl in the fight, because that's where I was at with my training, you know, and that was, like, what I've been working really hard on.
So, as far as Miriam goes, what do you think about her game, her fighting style?
Well, I mean, she's got an extensive background in Muay Thai, you know, and her striking is exceptional. You know, she'll probably be the best striker I think I've ever fought. So that's just something that I have to work towards to make better for myself. You know, I want to be able to just stand and bang with her. Like, I want to be one of the best fighters in the world. And if she's one of the best strikers in the world, then I got to be able to stand and bang with her to prove that I'm one of the best in the world too. So, you know, I don't know. I haven't really, like, I don't know what her game plan is. I mean, I guess any could look at the fight and be like, oh, she's going to stand and bang with you. But it's just never that simple. It's like, oh, is that all she's going to do? You know, that's laughable when I love it when people, like, come up to me at the gym and they're like, oh, you're fighting a striker. All you have to do is take her down. I'm like, really? Is that all I have to do? Like, if I eat to some of her, because it's never that. So I guess that's really long bit.
You got that. Oh, just take her down. You'll be fine. Yeah, okay, I gotta hold her down. I gotta get position. I need to land strikes. I need to set something up. You gotta love that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know, it's not a wrestling match, and it's not a Muay Thai fight, and it's not a boxing match, and it's not a jiu-jitsu match. So it's an MMA fight, and anything goes, and you have to be prepared for anything.
Or anyone come up to you, don't, you know what she's gonna do? She's gonna try to hit you. But, you know, you're like, yeah, but with what? I don't know if it's gonna be a hook, a leg kick. Sounds a lot simpler than it is, right?
People write to me on Facebook and stuff sometimes, and they're like, okay, you're fighting Miriam. Here's what you gotta do. And, like, they'll break it down for me. It's like, you know, thanks, buddy, but, like, I have a plethora of coaches and training partners that, like, have been working with me, and believe it or not, we've actually watched some tape on Miriam prior to you writing to me, and, you know, I'm gonna do whatever my coaches say. Because if they can't fix me, some dude on the internet that I've never met certainly can't. You know what I mean?
So on that, I'm guessing you watch some of her Muay Thai fights because she only has the 2 MMA fights?
Yeah, I've seen some of her Muay Thai fights. I haven't seen the show Fight Girls. People keep asking me about that. Like, I guess she was on, like, a reality show or something, and I don't know. Anyway, I haven't watched that. But yeah, I watched a couple of her Muay Thai fights. The problem with watching that is that you're watching a different sport, So, I mean, you can look into things, but not really, because it's not a Muay Thai match.
Not having to defend takedowns.
Right,
different kind of clinch. There's a lot of different technique in there.
And they were from a while back, Like, I think the most recent one I watched was from at least a year ago, but, I mean, she's been training and stuff since then. Look at all the progress I've made in the last year. It's stupid to assume that she would be the same fighter from a tape before fighting a year ago.
So from when you took your first fight back in 2010, I believe, to where you're at now, what do you think of the transformation of the fighter you've become?
That was amazing. I think, especially in the last year, I've just made so much progress and really started to come into my own, and I'm just excited to see, like, how far I can take it, It's amazing to me that, every time I, like, hit a plateau and think that I can't go any farther, like, that's when a lot of progress suddenly starts being made. So, like, this fight camp, I've made a lot of progress with mentally as a fighter, and have, like, a lot of aha moments and started to see what my coaches have been talking about all along. So, I don't know, when I first started fighting, it's like I never expected to be here anyway. I just took one fight just for the fun of it. I didn't, want to be a fighter. I certainly didn't want to make a career out of it. I was never going to do 8 of them, Like, this is all just bonus, So, it's been a pretty wild ride.
How long into training was there a sense that this felt right? Obviously, it's something you love and you're passionate about. Was it love at first try? What did it take? What happened?
Yeah, I took that first fight just to say I did it. Like, I just wanted to be able to tell my kids and my grandkids that I did an MMA fight and, like, kind of face my own fears and cross it off the bucket list and all that good stuff. And then it was so short and it was so fun that I ended up taking another one because I was like, well, that doesn't really count. It was only 17 seconds. You can't do something for 17 seconds and count as doing it, So I did another fight, and that fight actually lasted 2 rounds, and they were 2 3-minute rounds, and I just had a blast. I remember, like, being in the cage, and I was just laughing and, like, having the time of my life, and I don't know, to me it was just such a thrill ride, And after that fight, fights just kind of started falling in my lap. Like, they just literally, like, girls would just call me out, they wanted to fight, and I'd be like, okay, and so I'd train really hard and fight them, but, I didn't go looking for any fights, like, I didn't ask for any of this, really, I just kind of fell into it, and that's what makes me think that I'm supposed to be here, you know what I mean, because I wouldn't have picked this for myself, I didn't force any of this, or, like, make it go my way, so I'm just here now, I'm doing the best I can with what I got, and what I got is actually pretty sweet, I got a pretty sweet setup.
Well, you mentioned trash talking, and that's a big part of, the combat sports world. And gotta say, gladly, there's not that much trash talk I've heard around this event. It's Invicta FC 7, and it's just a huge event because 3 titles are on the line. So how do you, and as an organization, feel that you guys set yourselves kind of apart with that? It's not as edgy, it's more, it's a professional sport, and look at the best female fighters in the world.
I think our performances really speak for themselves, it's like we don't need to talk a bunch of shit about each other to hype each other up. Like, we have such great personalities in Invicta as it is. I mean, like, look at Beck Hyatt or JoJo Calderwood. Like, those girls that really don't need to be talking a bunch of shit about people, like Rosemont Madrinas. People just want to see them. Tisha Torres. Like, it's just the athletes and their performances are enough, I think. And in my personal opinion, I don't know, if you have enough breath to talk a bunch of shit about your opponent, then you're probably not training hard enough. Like, I don't see the point. I think it's classless. I just don't understand why somebody would want to lower themselves to being a shit talker. To me, like, that's just, it's not in my personality, and I'm not going to do it just for showmanship when I can go out there and put on a good show either way, whether I talk shit or not.
And then, with women's MMA, it's a big deal, too. what do you feel like, well, for yourself, having to try to sell yourself? Some girls, you know, try to be the model, some try to be the tough girl, there's the trash talkers. What do you feel about that side of trying to sell yourself to get the sponsorships and make the money and that stuff?
You know, I don't really care if they do that or not. It's really none of my business what other people do, and it's really none of my business what other people think of me. Like, I'm just here to fight. I'm going to work really hard, and I'm going to fight. And, you know, most people that like me, or most people that meet me, like me. So I just don't really worry about it too much. Like, I'm not the prettiest fighter that ever stepped in the cage, but I'm not there to be a model. I'm there to fight my ass off. That's what people want to see. They want to see fighters go in there and like have heart and bleed and put it all on the line and progress as fighters and do really cool shit, you know? So that's what I'm there to do. I'm not there to take my clothes off or like try and look sexy or anything like that. I just don't consider that part of my job. And, you know, if other girls use that to get sponsorships, more power to them. That's great. But I'm going to be over here busy training, and I'm going to be sweaty. My hair's going to be messed up. Like, my skin's probably going to be bad because I'm going to be rolling around on mats all day with other sweaty dudes. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take the time to, like, fix my hair and do my nails and everything else because I'm busy working my ass off.
Well, what should people, one last time, what should they expect in the fight with you and Miriam coming up?
Well, it's going to be a war. It's going to just be a battle of attrition, right? Like, I think Miriam's got a lot of heart. She's got a great record. She's officially like 16-0 Muay Thai, but I think she's got way more fights than that. I think she's got close to 30 fights. But she's undefeated in MMA, and they're all knockouts. I mean, she's obviously not a chump. And I really want to be the first person to go in there and stop her. I really think that if I keep my head calm and I do what my coaches tell me to do, I really think I can be the first person to stop Miriam Nakamoto. And of course she's going to be doing everything she possibly can not to let that happen. So it's going to be a hell of a fight. There's going to be blood. There's going to be violence. You guys are going to love it.
Without giving away too much of your game plan, what's something key to the fight that you say you'd have to accomplish to come out victorious?
I have to hurt her really badly.
Great answer. Last thing is I want to give you a minute to thank people that have helped you, sponsors, shout out to your husband, whatever, give you a second.
Yeah, that's it for sure, yeah. And to my husband, first and foremost, I love you, babe. And to American Knockout Wear, they've sponsored me for this fight and my last fight, and they're awesome. They made some really cool t-shirts for me, and part of the proceeds from buying one of those t-shirts goes to a really awesome charity. So guys, make sure you get over to akowear.com and buy one of those shirts. There's Lauren Murphy walkout shirt, and they're badass. And I'd also like to thank my whole team at Gracie Baja Katie for putting up with me and loving me anyway, and in spite of, and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm really excited for December 7th. Thanks to Invicta for having me out again.
Invicta FC7, December 7th, online pay-per-view. Everyone check it out. Lauren Murphy, thank you for the time.
Thank you.